Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Torx, the Brass Bull, is on the warpath, and the Lizardmen are in his sights in this DLC matchup between the Beastmen and the Lizardmen, as I will be commanding the Beastmen, and we'll have Happy Puppy on the Lizardmen. So for the Beastmen army, frontline is going to be just some Ungor herd with the destroyers of the Drakwold, which do have poison to kind of help with those monster fights just a little bit. They'll be charging right along with the rest of the units. And in the secondary line, it is, of course, Torx, the Brass Bull. He is going to be rolling on in with the Rune Tortured Axes as well as the Slaughterer's Call, and then he will be paired up with a Gorbel, and for spellcasting it is going to be a Bray Shaman of Wild, going to be coming on in with a couple spells, going to be on those Tuskor Chariots, so going to be bringing in with Traderkin and Devolve, reducing that speed and melee attack just a little bit to kind of help with those engagements just a little bit more so, and it's definitely going to be helping the Gorbel and Torx here catch those big dinos just a little bit easier. We have a Bestigor for some nice armor piercing, and then a Jabberslythe is going to be trying to wear down the opposing infantry with its Mortis-like engine effect when when units are below 50% leadership. And of course, it does have the spurting bile blood, so it does provide poison as well to these engagements, so that'll be quite nice for that. For the flanks, it is going to be some nice mobility. We have some Centaurs with throwing axes, we have some Chaos Warhounds, and some Centaurs with great weapons, and we also have the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Ruin, and these guys do have a regen, so I'll be able to kind of heal these guys up throughout the fight, just kind of especially helping against that Chameleon Skink, so they won't take so much damage. They'll be able to kind of heal their way through that. Some more dogs on the far flank here, going to be catching out some of the Chameleon Skinks on the Lizardmen, but for the Lizardmen army, it is going to be Saurus Spears in that front line, and they are going to have some Chameleon Skinks, Skink Horse with Javelins on the flanks, as they do have some Cold One Spear Riders acting in the reserves, going to be trying to keep those Chameleon Skinks alive and well, and it's going to be kind of the same thing on both flanks. For the spellcasting, it is going to be a Skink Priest of Beasts, and the Skink Priest of Beasts is going to be bringing a few spells of its own, so it does have the Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, giving physical resist and melee defense, going to be helping against that little Beastmen, but Beastmen do have a fair amount of magic damage themselves, so that physical resist isn't going to be as helpful. But then there is Flock of Doom as well, going to be foregoing the Manticore summon, not as useful anymore. It does cost 20 Winds of Magic with the new DLC, and we have Lord Mazdamundi on Zlak, going to be a terror on the field, but the Beastmen definitely have tools to deal with them. He has Harmonic Convergence, Apotheosis, and he has Shield of the Old Ones, Bound Banishment, as well as the Ruination of Cities. And that is going to be the armies, and just in the nick of time, as both sides are going to be converging, Gorbel and Torx roll their way right on into the Saurus Spears, as the rest of the Ungor herd is going to be on their way. And the Beastmen going to be advancing on all fronts. We're going to be getting a little bit of catch on one side. Chameleon Skinks do take a bit of damage from these Chaos Warhounds before they do pull back in the face of those Cold One Spear Riders. And it looks like we have a Traderkin going to be going down, hitting the Chameleon Skinks, the Skink Horse Sevens, and a lot of this flank here, hoping to really whittle them down, as these Chameleon Skinks are going to be caught out, routing off the field. On the other flank, we do have those Chaos Warhounds getting pushed back by the Cold One Spear Riders, but they themselves get charged in by those Centaurs with great weapons, and we have a Ruination of Cities going down right through these lines. Going to be doing a bit of friendly damage, but otherwise a fairly decent cast. Going to be breaking these Ungor herd, especially with Lord Mazdamundi here to get that terror route in, and the Jabberslythe is going to be getting caught out by Lord Mazdamundi, but both the Gorbel and Torx are going to be engaging and doing a bunch of damage, and that is going to allow that Jabberslythe to kind of pull right on back, kind of getting engaged with all those infantry, but it is all spearmen, so they will be doing a nice bit of damage to him. But Mazdamundi taking a bunch of damage so far. He has Devolve on him, so his melee attack was down, and now Pan's Impenetrable Pelt is going to be going down instead, getting that extra physical resist to help kind of keep that damage at bay, as he is getting very low, and he's going to be kind of pulling back, but that Jabberslythe going to be getting in his way just a little bit, but that is going to give him a little bit of distance between the Gorbel and that Torx attack, so he is going to be able to at least withstand for now, but he is going to be needing quite a bit of healing up to do, as the Jabberslythe is going to be charging right on through into these Chameleon Skinks, is going to be taking a nice little chunk out of them. The skink cohort have used up pretty much all of their ammunition, but they are going to be getting drained down now that the leadership is below half health, and Lord Masmoudi still trying to avoid that Gorpal and Toryx, as now the Cold War Spear Rider is getting a nice little surround on top of them, keeping that little distance between him and Lord Masmoudi. Looks like we have another Traderkin going to be going down, hitting a nice little patch of unit Saurus Spears. All of these units taking quite a bit of damage here, as that Grey Shaman now going to be running for the hills away from Masmoudi. Does not want to be having any of that in this engagement. But things are looking fairly good for the Beastmen here. Balance power is pretty heavily in their favor. We do have the Bestors coming back, so they'll be coming back into that fight. Should be able to do quite a nice bit of job to these Saurus Spears. The only thing they really have to worry about is going to be Masmoudi. The Gorwal getting a little low right now in terms of leadership, but he is going to be maintaining. Jabberslide is going to be diving right on top of all these units as he dives from the heavens, and Toryx with that Gorpal going to be a fearsome trio to deal with here in this late game. Lord Masmoudi running out of things to really block him, but he is going to be just surrounded by spearmen. So all of these units here are large targets, so they're going to be taking quite a bit of damage from all these Saurus Spears. We have the Grogkos continuing to just kind of pepper the way into the skink cohort, as the Centaurs with great weapons are just going to be cleaning up on the flanks. Their mobility doing quite well, and Masmoudi getting lower and lower by the second, as he is going to be pulling back, and another Traderkin going down, hitting all of the blobbed up units of the Lizardmen, and that is going to be generating quite a bit of value. It looks like everything's pretty much going to be mass routing here, and that is going to be army losses, as the Beastmen do carry through with a nice little highlight of some of the new units, but that'll be all she wrote. So let's take a look at the after battle report and see how things did fare. So for the Lizardmen, Lord Masmoudi is still able to generate 1,800 in value. Unfortunately, he was pretty much on the run throughout most of that fight. The Gorbal and Toryx were a fearsome foes to be had indeed. The Skink Priest, on the other hand, not really doing all too much with its spells, but of course, Pant and Control Pelt, not really going to be generating any value there. And it was helping to keep Lord Masmoudi in that fight for a little bit longer. Rest of that frontline troops not really doing all too great with those Saurus Spears. They do cost quite a bit more than what they were able to generate. The Skink cohort with Javelins, on the other hand, did quite well, getting 730, and then all of the other units doing all right to boot on top of that. Now, as for the Beastmen side of things, we have Toryx doing rather nice, getting 2,200 in total value. The Grey Shaman getting 1,800, and even the Gorbal was able to generate 1,500. So doing pretty nice with the Hero Squad. For the rest of the units, all of the Ungors not really going to be able to do a whole lot against Saurus, kind of as expected. Destroyers of Drakul doing a little bit better. Bestigors only 488, so they did have quite a bit of left at the end, though, so they had a little bit of left in them. The Centaurs with great weapons, on the other hand, doing rather nice with 1,200, and then the Centaurs with throwing axes, nothing too great there, and then the Jabberslide getting 1,200, so really a lot of that value was generated from the three heroes. Jabberslide, of course, doing rather nice to boot. But that is all I'm going to have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.